Why did you feel it necessary to withdraw your support and your attendance from this Safe to Be Me conference, this global conference that is intending to spread a message of acceptance to countries where it is not that rife?
Hi, Tom. I think it's really important to say that this really was the only option that we were left with. We have been in dialogue with government for a long time over both the international conference and also the ban on conversion therapy. And we have been repeatedly assured by ministers that any ban on conversion therapy, like it is across so many other countries across the world, would include both sexual orientation and gender identity, so LGBT and T people. But then there was this U-turn after U-turn and absolute position from number 10 that trans people would continue to be excluded, but they would do this extra piece of work. It's just unacceptable. And a ban of conversion practices is not a ban unless it includes everybody. Otherwise, there will be loopholes that people can use. And we and so many other organisations across the UK and internationally now are coming out to say this is unacceptable. So it was a last resort for all of us, and I'm as pleased as I can be on this. But there are over 150 organisations now who are signing up. I've lost track of the emails I'm getting.
That is an extraordinary number, 150. It does put the future of the conference in jeopardy. How can such a conference go ahead with almost total withdrawal of support from the LGBT community? Do you think that this conference can go ahead if this government continues to refuse to ban LGBT conversion therapy in its entirety?
I think this is an entirely sorry state of affairs. And of course, we would all dearly love for an international LGBT conference to be in the UK, but under the right circumstances, we can't be used by our government in this. We will continue to work with our allies across the UK, our allies across the international community, and many of our members, LGBT Plus Consortium, do that amazing international work every day. So that won't stop. We have a real proud group of organisations doing that international work, and we will continue to support that. But we can't allow the government to pretend that this isn't happening and try to brush it under the carpet. We have to stand as one. And I think in the last 24 hours, we really have shown that the sector is as one on this.
Why do you think it is that the United Kingdom seems to be behaving in a slightly different way than many other countries are? Most people in government would say that they're absolutely in favour of LGBT rights, and yet that doesn't always seem to then transform into policy. You mentioned other countries around the world have banned LGBT conversion therapy, and yet the UK seems to be an outlier in trying to split the LGB from the T. What is it about this country that seems to be becoming that outlier?
I think the government has this perception that we as a sector, as LGBT and T organisations and communities and people, are not as one on these issues. There's a small minority of organisations who have differing opinions, but the LGBT plus sector as a whole is speaking over the last 24 hours in unity that we are as one of this. And I think the government has, to an extent, had the wool pulled over its eyes. And it's not just LGBT organisations when it comes to banning conversion therapy who are as one on this. We've got professional physical and mental health bodies who have come together and have been together as one on this for a very long time under a memorandum of understanding. Yesterday, we also saw many faith leaders and organisations absolutely on as one on all of this. And so I think yesterday really was a wake-up call to the government to say, we aren't divided. We will be fighting together as LGBT and T people for what we need. Trans rights are human rights, just as LGBT rights are human rights. And we are absolutely in solidarity with each other.
Well, Paul Roberts, CEO of LGBT Consortium, thank you so much for talking us through those issues. No doubt this is an issue that will continue to run, and we'll watch with interest what the government have to say on it.
Thank you.
Well, after the break.